All the things you find fun and joyful have been linked to giving you cancer. Does that make us? It does. It makes us hypocrites. It makes me really sad that I like eating bacon. So today we are going to check out a video on the Top 10s channel called Foods That Are Banned in Europe but Not in America, or words to that effect. I might have got them mixed up. It's our old pal Simon Whistler on the Top 10s channel. It's a pretty recent video, 2 years ago. I don't think much has changed in terms of what is allowed and what isn't allowed since then. I love food, in case you didn't know. I did a video on this channel before about different laws about foods in Europe and the United States, and I think it was a very interesting video. Go check it out here. I'll link it at the end too. I am curious to see what is still banned here, because by and large it seems like a lot of stuff is the same, but when you taste the food in America, even if it's the same brand, supposedly the same thing, it tastes super different. One thing I noticed was Kit Kats. Kit Kats taste totally different in the USA than in Europe. As I recall, a large part is to do with numbers and coloring. Let's see what this video has to say. Before I get into the video, do be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. Today we're gonna put our least favorite word in, not a curse word, our least favorite word in the comments. My least favorite word is relax, because I just find it in its setting that somebody is telling you to relax, it just doesn't make you relax. It opposite of makes you relax. I don't like the word relax. Let me know what yours is below.
The European Union is as suspicious as ever when it comes to foodstuffs containing chemicals, unnatural dyes, and meat treated with synthetic growth hormones. Since 1981, the EU has had stringent rules for the importation of food to its markets, and those rules have only gotten stricter with time. In 1989, it banned as many as 6 growth hormones, launching a trade dispute which has lasted 30 years and counting. In 2003, it permanently banned 1 synthetic growth hormone, while provisionally banning 5 others, and a whole host of dyes, chemicals, and preservatives are persona non grata in the EU as well. From hard-shelled candy delights, milk, dyed salmon, and beef and pork treated with all kinds of hormones, here are 10 foods banned in parts of the European Union that are not banned in the United States.
Link
10.
below.
Skittles. While not banned in the entire EU, Skittles are banned in Sweden and Norway for containing yellow dye number 5 and 6. In most parts of the EU, all that's required of the Wrigley Company, a division of Mars Inc., is to include a disclaimer suggesting that the candy could cause adverse health effects and hyperactivity. Still, it's thought that these dyes can cause allergic reactions in some people, and FDA tests have shown that red dye 40, yellow 5, and yellow 6 all contain cancer-causing agents like benzodiazepine and 4-aminobiphenol. And the levels released in the body could be much higher than the FDA is reporting, thanks to the fact that routine tests tend to find less of these cancer-causing carcinogens than when they actually pass through the colon.
Whoa.
Still, we've never heard of anyone in the US being hospitalized after eating Skittles.
Fun fact, I was massively allergic to food coloring when I was younger, so I couldn't eat Skittles, M&Ms, anything that was like artificially colored like that would like literally set off, my whole face would go red and like turn into a big rash. I couldn't eat Cocoa Pops, I couldn't eat anything with food coloring or numbers in it. So for me, I didn't have a lot of sweets as a kid, but I did have a lot of chocolate. Now, you could argue there were numbers in that too, but whatever was in chocolate was okay for me, but nothing that was in like candy.
Maybe that's just what they want you to think. Number 9. RBGH or RBST milk. The main reason cited by the European Union for banning both recombinant bovine growth hormone and its synthetic counterpart, recombinant bovine somatotropin, RBST, officially is due to animal cruelty concerns, but there may be other adverse health effects linked to the use of these hormones. Both RBGH and RBST have been tenuously linked to the developments of certain cancers. In addition to that, the FDA found that further study would have to be conducted to determine the impact these hormones would have on the liver and other organs. Although the World Health Organization is primarily concerned about the over-reliance and overuse of antibiotics in humans, claiming that this could lead to the evolution of a superbug, 90% of antibiotics consumed aren't taken by humans. They're fed to otherwise healthy animals. And experts warn that this could lead to our livestock essentially becoming superbug factories. As the bacteria they harbor become more and more resistant to antibiotics, it's only a matter of time before these traits get passed on to bacteria that are harmful to humans.
Interesting, because I was just going to say, apparently everything gives you cancer, right? Like everything is like, this has been linked to cancer, that has been linked to cancer. All the things you find fun and joyful have been linked to giving you cancer. The antibiotic thing is actually a better argument for me. It makes a lot of sense. Interesting. I don't know enough about science to say if it's legit or not, but I guess the powers that be, who are not actually looking out for us, for whatever reason, have deemed it not okay in Europe.
Number 8. Papaya, corn, and soy. The genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, used in vegetables and fruit in the US have allegedly been linked to some nasty health problems. However, whether this is actually the case, we just don't know. While it is true that the US treats its produce and fruit with GMOs to make them more resistant to different diseases, and this can be largely beneficial, more research does need to be conducted in order to determine which of these is harmful to humans. Unlike the US and the FDA, the EU takes a far more cautious approach when it comes to approving GMOs, meaning that they must pass rigorous tests and environmental monitoring before they are deemed safe for consumption by citizens in their countries.
Right?
However, even their system is not perfect. Recently, a batch of GMO-treated papaya began circulating through EU-controlled markets. The culprits appear to be farmers in Thailand who mass-produced GMO-treated crops. Number 7. Breads containing azodicarbonamide. Azodicarbonamide, ADA for short, is a chemical used to bleach breads in order to increase their shelf life. Recently, companies like Subway, McDonald's, and other fast food restaurants have come under fire for using this.
Okay, this is really interesting because in Ireland, bread will last you, like a loaf of bread, 3 days, maybe 4 days, and then it will go moldy. In Spain, a loaf of bread will literally last you like 2 weeks. No problem. Same thing in the United States of America. It lasts forever. And I've always wondered why Irish bread has such a short shelf life. I guess it's like very, very pure and not super treated.
ADA is also the chemical that allows bubbles to form inside foams and plastics like vinyl. The EU banned ADA because of its potential harmful effects on human health. Both potassium bromate's a chemical used in bread that helps it rise in the oven, and ADA have been linked to kidney and thyroid cancers in rats. So if China, Brazil, and the European Union have all banned the use of this chemical in their breads, well, why haven't the US? The fact of the matter is that the FDA just doesn't think it's dangerous. After multiple studies, it's ruled that it's not harmful in humans. The question you have to ask yourself is, well, which research do you trust more? And why? Number 6. Chlorine-washed chicken. Chlorine plays many roles in the industrialized world. It's a powerful tool for cleaning water supplies which otherwise might become contaminated and lead to the development of cholera when ingested, a disease which is extremely fatal if left untreated. But it's also used to clean other things, like chicken. Chlorine-washed chicken means just that, chicken that's been washed with chlorinated water. According to most websites devoted to chicken and all things related to chicken, it's the internet, of course these websites exist, chlorine washing is a food safety practice which helps keep harmful bacteria from growing on poultry. But while the EU doesn't think that washing your poultry in chlorinated water will lead to adverse health effects, they do think it's a method of covering up poor hygiene practices.
I know this absolutely makes me a hypocrite as a meat eater. Fun fact, by the way, my mom recently said that if she had allowed me to when I was younger, I probably would have become a vegetarian, but it just was very inconvenient. I also do like my chicken nuggies, but I do not like to see them when they look like that. Does that make us? It does. It makes us hypocrites. I don't like the food to look like the animal. And I like the animal to have like not died in a horrific way. And I know. If I were a better person, I would be a vegetarian. But I'm not. I'm a sucky person.
Understandably has made US exporters incredibly angry, as it's a decision not based in scientific evidence, but rather on paranoia. Number 5. Instant mashed potatoes. While the FDA will argue otherwise, the preservatives butylated hydroxyanazole, BHA, and butylated hydroxytoluene found in instant mashed potatoes, and pretty much every single packaged food you buy in the US, have been known to cause some cancers in rats. They're also known to impair blood clotting when consumed in high quantities, among other symptoms like hyperactivity. BHA and BHT are used primarily to prevent foods from excreting oils. This prevents them from going rancid and extends their shelf life. And you can probably guess what the European Union did about this. If you guessed that they outright banned them, then congratulations, you are correct. The strange thing about the situation is that the FDA admits that BHA and BHT are probably a bit carcinogenic in nature. The FDA certified these food additives as GRAs, generally recognized as safe, but this just means that they're only regarded as safe up until a certain amount is consumed and never underwent pre-market.
I'm really confused because I know AHAs and BHAs are the things I put on my skin to exfoliate it. Is that the same thing. Also, we totally have pre-made mashed potato. You can get it at Marks and Spencer's. It's super nice. I guess it's different. Maybe it has a much shorter shelf life. I know, like, in America, you can get it in a packet and it's like a powder. Maybe that's what they're talking about.
Number 4, Mountain Dew. You might be surprised to learn
We
that
have
your
it.
favourite lemon lime soda may contain a chemical typically used in a flame retardant, and this is an ingredient that has been banned in over 100 countries. The FDA tested the ingredients in Mountain Dew and found that they lacked enough conclusive data on one of its main ingredients,
different though,
brominated vegetable oil, to decide whether or not it was safe to consume, although it's still labelled as GRAS. Of course, across the pond, it's a different story. Because it competes with iodine for receptor sites in the body, high levels of brominated vegetable oil in humans can lead to thyroid problems, autoimmune diseases, and potentially cancer. In fact, bromine is considered a toxin. Although brominated vegetable oil is still legal in the United States, Pepsi and Coke decided to remove the ingredient from their soft drinks after public backlash.
I've definitely had European Mountain Dew on this channel. I can't tell that it tastes different from American Mountain Dew.
Number 3, farmed salmon. Eating salmon has all kinds of health benefits, but people consuming anything other than freshwater or organic salmon might be consuming a harmful carcinogen. The European Union has outright banned farm-raised salmon for good reason. So what exactly separates farmed salmon from freshwater salmon? Well, that's the fact that salmon that are raised on farms are typically fed an unnatural diet of grain, antibiotics, and other drugs that leave their meat an unhealthy-looking grey. Propagators of farm-raised salmon use a chemical known as astaxanthin to dye the unhealthy grey away.
Oh,
You're already guessing
astaxanthin. Yes, that
astaxanthin
is a
has
big
been banned
one.
in the EU due to health concerns, and you'd be right. What's more is that freshwater salmon growing up on natural food sources retains a vibrant pink quality.
Astaxanthin. I think that's the chemical that I was told to look out for in sunscreen that you shouldn't. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know in comments if you're familiar.
Number 2, US pork. Pigs in the United States
Pork.
are typically given food laced with ractopamine, a growth promotion drug which helps animals remain lean. The drug basically mimics the effects of stress hormones, allowing for the production of more meat while keeping feed consumption relatively low. So what might be the problem with this? Well, the company that produces the drug, Elanco, did their own testing on the drug, and this might be a decent indicator that some corners might have been cut. Shortly after the FDA approved the drug for use in American pork products, farmers began reporting that more and more pigs became non-ambulatory, which is a fancy way of saying that they can't stand or walk. These pigs tend to get treated very poorly in US slaughterhouses, getting trampled and dragged by
I don't wanna
workers and
know.
electrically shocked by cattle prods in a cruel effort to get them moving again. More than 218,000 pigs are recorded as having this condition. The FDA accused Elanco of withholding information. But despite this news, the drug is still allowed in the US. All that's changed is a big old disclaimer listing the drug's side effects. On this one, we can't really blame the EU for banning it. Sometimes being cautious pays off.
Okay, here's how I feel about pork. I have to literally block any kind of videos that come up in my suggested about pigs because they are just as intelligent as dogs, and it makes me really sad that I like eating bacon. My thoughts on eating meat though is that we are mammals and, you know, we eat meat. And my only thing is that I do think that they should be killed in a humane way. You shouldn't torture them, and they should have nice enough lives. Like, they should be able to walk around. We shouldn't be crippling them. That's my thoughts for what it's worth, but I do eat meat, so I'm a terrible human.
1. US beef. Much like the EU's reasoning on banning US-sourced milk, meat sourced from cattle raised on growth hormones cannot be imported to the European Union. Believe it or not, this decision has resulted in a long-standing trade dispute between the US and the EU, lasting 30 years and counting. Unlike milk, however, the ban on US beef extends to 6 different growth hormones, with estradiol being permanently banned and 5 others provisionally banned. This has resulted in US retaliation in the form of tariffs on selected food imports from the EU, an action that the EU has heavily criticized. Not all US beef is banned in the EU, though. Just recently, a deal was reached to allow a certain market share for companies looking to export organic beef, but the tariffs do remain. The US claims that the EU's decision is not based on scientific evidence and that they're not treating farms that use synthetic growth hormones fairly.
That was super interesting. My biggest question raised from it all is, why do some things fly and some things do not? I do not trust the people running the world right now in general.
May none of them be missed. May none of them be missed.
I don't think they have our best interest at heart. I think they just want to get richer and richer, and I don't know, I just don't trust them. Well, that's cheerful. I just think make your own decisions. If you want to buy organic eggs or free range eggs from chickens, do that. But interesting how some things are okay and others are not. I'm not a scientist, so if you know more about this than me, please comment below. I love to hear what you guys have to say. Shout out today to a couple of very special people. Our first shout out today comes from someone who always has something positive to say in comments. It's Kim Sparks. To Chewy. It was Chewy's birthday this month and he invited all the patrons and channel members to his birthday party. You can check out the whole party over there. There were some really cute moments. He had loads of little palm friends and he had a birthday cake and he got presents. It was so cute. Thank you so much, Kim. Our second shout out today comes from one of the people who is always one of the first in the comments in the First Hour Club. It's Ricky Carey. He wants to shout out Easter planners around the world putting together activities of food and drinks and Easter eggs for friends and families to enjoy at parks. He says, remember to make some Easter pet-friendly treats for the pets too. That's a great idea, Ricky. Thank you so much, Ricky. That's it for today. See you guys on the other side. Bye. You know what? You could have just been a little pig. I could have got myself a little pig instead of you. I had a little bow on his head. He probably wouldn't be allowed to go to like beauty salons and stuff though, I'm thinking.